Hey, in this video I'll be telling you about my top 10 openings of all time. Now, to preface this even more, this is my opinion. This isn't some overall top 10 list that I got off the internet and decided to make a video for. No, this is completely my opinion of openings that I've loved over the years, put on a list, and there might be some openings that you might think that should be on this list, but once again, this is just my opinion, so there are probably openings here that you probably have never heard of, or you don't think should be on this, but these are just my top 10 best openings of all time. So, without further ado, let's get this video started. So first, I'll have 3 honorable mentions that were really close to my personal top 10, but just couldn't quite make it. And first is, as you just saw, the Hunter x Hunter opening. I know this is probably a lot of people's top 1, but personally, I think it's just really good. But I don't think it's that good. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fire, but, you know, there are still better out there, at least in my opinion. You know, next is... And lastly, as you just saw, is the second Mob Psycho opening. I used to love it way more, like it was in my top 5, but now it's fallen a little bit. It's just outside of the top 10, but it is really fucking good. But now, starting our 10th spot is... This is quite an underground opening, as the anime is very unpopular. But when I first heard this opening when I was just starting to watch anime, I fell in love with this opening, but I forgot to write down the name, and now that I know what it's called, I just can't stop listening to it. Anyways, the 9th spot is... Alright, I'm gonna be honest, the 9th place was originally gonna be the 7 Deadly Sins opening 1, but after listening to Kickback again, I just can't not put it in the top 9 spot. Like, I still don't think it's even close to the top 5, but it is definitely in my top 10. Like, holy shit, I had forgotten how good it was. And moving on to the next spot is... I think a lot of people will be happy that I have a JoJo's opening in my top 10, but sadly, this is the only JoJo opening that I have in my top 10. While I think Fighting Gold is really good as well, it isn't nearly as good as this one. So, let's just move on to the next opening. Man, this is by far the best Bleach opening. While for a long time this was the only Bleach opening that I really liked and listened to, recently I've started to listen to more Bleach openings again. Those openings being opening 1, 5, 6, and 12. I like those Bleach openings too now. Wow! When I first heard this opening, I loved it so much that I straight up started watching the anime because of it. Dude, it's so fire! I've overplayed it and I haven't been able to listen to it for a long time. But because I know and remember just how much I loved it, I must include it in my top 10, with it being just outside of reach for top 5. Deciding what was going to be in 5th was so hard, dude. I was looking through the remaining 5 songs that I loved so much, and I just couldn't decide, and ended up picking this as my 5th favorite opening of all time, with this also being the most underrated anime opening of all time. Go listen to it right now, after you finish watching my video, of course. You will not regret it. I love this opening so much. I discovered this opening when Spotify gave me a recommendation and I was like, wait a minute, this is fire. And I started listening to it not knowing it was an anime opening. Then, eventually, I remember that Oshinoko Season 2 was airing and I remembered Season 1's opening went super viral and decided to see how Opening 2 was doing. Only to realize that that was the song I had been listening to for the past few weeks. The only reason that this is the 4th spot and not higher is because it might be that it is still somewhat new and I haven't been burnt out by it just yet, even though it is my 6th most played song on Spotify in 2024. Even though it released only in summer, that gave me like 1/3 of the time to listen to it. This is one of the openings that have withstood the test of time for me. I heard this opening years ago and I listened to it so much, but I never got burnt out. I still love it just as much as when I first heard it, maybe a bit less. This opening is underrated. This opening is often overlooked because of the anime it is associated with, but the opening is genuinely peak music. The vocals, instruments, rhythm, everything is incredible. But despite all this praise, there is still one more opening that I think does everything better. I'll give you a second to think about that could be in first. Alright, here goes. Yes! I love this opening so fucking much. Your Lie in April was my 4th anime back when I had started watching anime at the end of 2020. And I love this opening since then. This opening has done a lot more than withstood the test of time. This has always been a go-to anime opening. This might just be, for me, the closest thing to a perfect opening. And that's it. While we're here, I want to say that a lot of you guys will be trashing me for not having Evangelion on this list. And while it is a really good opening, I think it is nostalgia for most people that really speaks volumes. Because while, as I said, the opening is really good and can and is remembered as a legendary opening, maybe it's actually my personal taste. I'm not trashing on the opening. I'm just saying that it is probably people's memory and nostalgia that speaks more than the actual opening. I tried for like 10 minutes to formulate this and I don't know how to formulate this better, so just take it. But if you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe, as I post videos every single Monday without exception. And I've been doing that for more than half a year now, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!